You know, the one thing that we often go through, and we being Open Channels Group, we often, think about the multicultural piece a lot. And that's because oftentimes when people come to us to do business, it's because of our status in terms of our business. We are a minority and we're a woman-owned business. And so people come and do business with us for that reason oftentimes. But what we found that through that process that not everyone understands the importance of the audience in terms of their buying power. And so we thought about, what, let's just show the business case. And for me, that's super important. When I hear numbers like the African American community is going to have over $1 billion, $1.2 trillion in buying power by the year 2015, according to the Selig Center in Georgia, that's huge. I mean, that's a lot of buying power, especially considering the size in terms of population. And so when a business is asking itself, do I need to speak to this audience directly? The dollars itself says yes. You need to be talking to this audience. Well, but when you talk to them, where are they? Mm-hmm. They are on Twitter. They watch TV, highly indexed. Nielsen Media Research put out a study last year about African Americans, and African Americans are more likely than any other segment to have a TV in every room in their household. Yeah. I mean, that's huge. Yeah. That's huge. So if you want to reach this audience, and they like primetime TV. I mean, they like primetime evening TV. They become loyal. The other thing I think about, so that's huge as well. These are also people who love their phones. People being African Americans. African Americans love their phones. Almost every African American person who owns a cell phone and who's online is accessing everything, shopping via phone. They are on Twitter via phone. Last week, I was reading something. Open Channels Group does a digital trends weekly report that we send to our clients. So if you want to be added to the list, let us know. We can add you. But in one of our digital trends weekly, we found that African Americans are also 25% of those users online who are using Twitter. 25% of that they're African Americans, and they're using it from their phone. That's huge when you're looking at how do I reach this audience? Well, they have a platform that they're already using, and the trending topics that are on Twitter are the majority of topics that are very relevant to African Americans. And that's huge because while they're 25% of the population on Twitter, they're only 13% of the U.S. population. So that's huge in terms of numbers. So I think I've made the business case. Just with those stats alone, you should be talking to that audience. And Hispanics come in a close second when it comes to those numbers as well, in terms of online percentages, and especially women, Hispanic women. And so I think that as you look at when you're talking to these or thinking about having a program that is geared towards a multicultural audience, I think you need to think about a couple things, not just the cultural insights, You have to also think about the region. Where are they? Because the way African Americans respond to you in Texas are not the way African Americans are going to respond to you in New York. Yeah. So thinking about how you approach people in the regions where they are. So think regionally as well. And I think that also is the same rings true for the Hispanic population and Asian populations and so forth. So think about that as well. So as you look at the multicultural audiences, think about their cultural, have that cultural insight. Think about also their region, and also think about how do they receive their information.
Can I add something to what you're saying?
You can.
I just stumbled across a great statistic about growth in the DFW area, and the 2010 census identified the fact that from 2000 to 2010, that the Dallas-Fort Worth region had the greatest number of increase amongst African American populations, behind Atlanta. We're number 2. So I don't know if people are fully aware that this region is becoming a lot more diverse than it was previously. And so these are like real live growth opportunities for any business. I mean, I'm sure that the same applies to the Hispanic population in terms of growth here.
Well, and like a little
Yeah.
bit more so, and depending on the area of Dallas-Fort Worth, I mean, the rates of growth have been in the triple digits.
Yeah.
If you go to Denton County or Collin County in some parts of this area. But to what you were saying, that the growth has occurred so quickly and over the span of relatively few years that, as we were talking about comparing the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the number 6 market in the country, DMA in the country, to like a Houston, integration or multicultural, quote unquote, as part of the business thinking of any big advertiser or brand is really not as integrated as in a market like Houston. Still here,
Yeah.
there are
It's
a lot
very
of
balkanized, right?
I think
yeah.
there's still very much, general market driving most of the buys, most of the campaigns, and sort of like as a secondary thought, we need to maybe do multicultural.
Mm-hmm.
And given the size of both African American and Hispanics in the area, I think it's the savvy marketers are the ones that are really going. It needs to be a part of, and we always need to be thinking it as a whole.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree with you completely, Gustavo. I mean, when you're thinking about a campaign in terms of what you're doing, we worked on a project last year for the Forward Transportation Authority, the T. And our goal was to support a planning study to find out if rail was feasible in the Southeast Fort Worth area. And so if you are familiar with Southeast Fort Worth, the population is majority Hispanic and African American. That area has the highest ridership of on the T system right now. And so to move people quickly is going to be really important. So the T really wants to understand what are the ridership preferences for this audience. And what we realized, because the planning study, of course, was on an aggressive schedule to gather data and information, our team was challenged with trying to figure out how do we go about gaining this information in the quickest way possible. We want to know, people where people want to see rail. Do they want it to be in the middle of where they in the median area? Do they want stops and stations every quarter of a mile? Where do they go right now? Are they going to work? Are they going to doctor's appointments? Are they going shopping? Are they going downtown for fun? What are the habits in that particular area? And as we think about how do you reach this audience and how you reach them quickly, because we knew it was a majority minority population. So we had to really meet them where they were in terms of communication. And so our team decided to use a very grassroots approach. And we did really old school man on the street interviews. We went and we met with people. We talked to them one-on-one, because we also know when you're dealing with multi-ethnic populations, there's a matter of trust. There's a matter of credibility. Do I trust you? If I'm providing you this information about me, are you going to use it in a way that's not going to be beneficial to me? And so we did a variety of things. We really tackled it online. We went, as Kevin mentioned, you have to tackle it online. So we had our information online. We also used, if you guys are familiar with QR codes, you're able to scan something where I can take my phone and scan it, almost like the barcode that you see on food. Yeah, this barcode here. So you can scan it. So we used a similar code to that, where they could scan it depending on where they were. We also made sure that it was on Facebook, on their website. I mean, just a variety. And we have printed surveys as well that we left at community centers. But we realized that we had to reach them at a variety of levels, because we could not just use one blanket approach. And I think that's the way companies need to be thinking about when they are creating a marketing campaign or a PR campaign to reach their consumers. Really go at it from all angles so that you reach everyone in that population potentially. As a result, we were able to get over 4,000 surveys in less than a 2-month period. And I think that's monumental. It's monumental in the fact that it was really obvious the T was able to gain new insight in terms of who was really riding the T. I mean, and even who wanted to be writing the T, who was not currently writing the T. So it really gave them insight into potential opportunities to market to gain new writers of their system. So I think as you're looking at your campaigns, think about those different platforms and really meeting people where they are.
You know, this came about, the T had already signed a contract with Open Channels when they came to Minority Leaders and Citizens Council, which meets weekly, which is another great forum. And there were pencil and paper surveys only at that time. It was just getting started, Kirby was presenting. And we really had to remind them that there are issues. A decent amount of the ridership is illiterate. So what are they going to do with a pen and paper survey? That some of them are not online, while a lot of them are riding the bus with a cell phone, and they can sit and answer your questions while they're there. Many of them don't know what rail necessarily is, or the difference between light rail. The one question that we asked Kirby about, what is the difference between light rail and traditional rail, and who knows that? So the education piece, and I really think that the short time frame that y'all had to complete that feasibility study and get, I thought it was over 5,000 ultimately interviews in, or surveys in, was amazing. I mean, that's one piece. What made the Transportation Authority know they needed to use someone to get that done, an expert, if you will, to get that done?
Well, I think it was really a matter of them knowing that they wanted to have input. Their board really charged them with, we want something, but we want it to be supported by the community. And so really that was the basis for them saying, okay, we're going to seek out an agency to really help us to bring this insight and gain this insight for us. So it was really a matter of their board knowing they wanted community support in terms of the results. And so that's what we did. We really helped them go into the community, gather the information they needed to make a decision about the future for the T system.
Great. How do you know when you've reached them? How do the statistics bear, or what's the outcome? Certainly in the T, it's surveys completed. In your market or in your commentary, when do you know someone's honestly used cultural insight or employed it and gotten it and then returned it, if you will, to the consumer? You said a lot of it here is market driven, while Houston seems to be a little bit further along in processing that message.
So the short answer to that is ka-ching, 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 right? You get more sales.
Yeah, right.
You get more
right.
sales. You get more website visits. You get greater engagement with your audience. I'll give you an example of, and also coming at it from the agency point of view, you get your clients either renewing or increasing their dollars with you. The U.S. Army. One of the biggest accounts that there is out there in terms of just in communications as a whole, advertising, experiential, sports marketing. Recently re-signed the company that I was working with, the agency I was working with out of Dallas for communications and PR and advertising. The mix of the spend that they did when they first hired the agencies, the group of agencies about...
Is it McCann Erickson?
It was the McCann Erickson group of companies, that's right.